Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Michaela and this is Michaela's Crafts, and today I'm going to bring back the temperature blanket. It is time. We're going to do a crochet and chat, but I needed to bring out my temperature blanket and see where I'm at. And I'm crushed. My soul is crushed. I need to finish August and catch up on September. Yes, we're in October, which means I'm really behind. But what I would love to do and what I would love to get done is crochet the rest of August, which I thought when I pulled this out that this was August. This is July. So I need to still do a white border around that. Then this is my tiny little August one. So I'm thinking we can crochet and chat while I work on this. And then I need to fill in all of the temperatures for the rest of August, September, and then we probably need to go to Joann's, grab some of the yarn, and then we can crochet and have a little chat. So that's the plan for this video. I don't know how it's gonna go. I just know I want to get this worked on, get this cut up. There's so many other things I'd rather be working on. I have so many whips going, so many exciting things. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit in the crochet and chat. But right now I'm going to figure out what yarn that I need, and I'm going to fill in these temperatures. Okay guys, I just finished calculating. I need to get lime, apricot, and red at the store because it was just a freaking hot August and September apparently. And I'm excited to bring lime back, but that's not gonna be till the end of the September square. But I don't know how far we're gonna get on that today, because once you get toward like the 20s, like the ends of the 20s, those rounds take forever to crochet and they take a lot of yarn. So we're just gonna do what we can and have a little crochet and chat after I get back from Joann's. I just realized I totally gave myself away by showing I'm in my pajama pants. I'm like dressed up from the top down and then pajama pants. I'm having a total wardrobe crisis. I hate every single piece of clothing that I had. I changed my outfits like 4 times and I ended up in my boyfriend's shirt. Like this is like the only thing I want to wear. I want to wear like a long sleeve under a nice oversized t-shirt. And I wanted to wear my Bad Bunny t-shirt, but I just wasn't vibing with it. So yeah, but I'm gonna go to Joann and I'm gonna walk my dog and I'm gonna come back and we're gonna have a little chat. Okay, you guys, so I just got back from Joann. I got my apricot, I got my pink, and I got my red. So I'm mostly gonna be sticking with apricot. I've just got like 5 rounds of apricot, so that's probably enough for me to sit and chat the whole time. But I also picked up this sock yarn. This is actually 75% wool, 25% nylon. It's by Patons and it's in the colors Clover colors. So it's got this little other green. It's I don't know if you would consider it variegating, but color changing at least. And my boyfriend absolutely loves forest green, dark green, emerald green, anything green. So I thought it would be really cute to make him some socks in this. Probably not for a long time because I have way too many other things to work on. But I am gonna go ahead and just start chatting away with you guys. And the first thing I wanna know is like how you're doing. How are you guys holding up with the weather change? I know that a lot of people honestly around me have been super sick. My mom actually got COVID and I haven't been in contact with my mom like physically, but yeah, my sister was, and then I went to happy hour with my sister the day before we found out my mom had COVID. So luckily I don't feel very many symptoms. I'm feeling pretty good, but you know, just checking on y'all and how you guys are holding up, because I know it's allergy season, it is starting to be flu season. I don't know about where you guys live, but here in Ohio, the weather totally dropped from like 70 to like 50, which is a huge drop in temperature. And it's supposed to go back to 70 again. So just absolute craziness right now for people who tend to get sick and people who are vulnerable to getting sick. My trick for not getting sick throughout the year is actually raw honey, and it has to be local. So my boyfriend's grandma actually makes her honey like in the backyard. And so we always have that honey on deck, which is so nice. And to be quite honest, I never used to like honey until I started eating her honey, and now it's the only honey that I will put in my body. And you can just taste how natural it is. Like, they don't do anything to it. It's straight from the hive. And it's so, so good. I like top my yogurt with it, put it in my tea. And the other day I started to get like just a little tickle in the back of my throat. So I just took a spoon, grabbed some honey, and took it to the dome. I was like, you know what? We are not getting sick around here. And it worked. Like, I don't feel sick anymore. Like as far as like flu or cold or anything like that goes. I have had a really rough time the past few weeks with sleeping. I have not been sleeping, and I think part of it has to do with these crazy positions that I sit in, and I think that they hurt my back, and then my back is just uncomfortable when I sleep. I used to have the same problem when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, I did not sleep well. I always had back pain, and I think it was because I was sitting at a desk all day in school. And I do have an acute form of scoliosis. Like, it wasn't bad enough when I was a kid for them to do surgery, and then they just told me the best thing I could do was like physical therapy and to strengthen my back. So when I started strength training, not till like years later, like when I was in college, I noticed a big difference, and I kind of forgot that I ever had back pain until recently, which I did become a lot more immobile in the past year, just due to picking up granny hobbies and not really caring about the gym as much. I think there was a huge wave for the gym and aesthetic and, you know, building muscle. And while I do want to stay in shape, and I still want to continue to build muscle because muscle mass is really important for everyone, just as far as like staying healthy goes, I just don't find that much joy in going to the gym anymore. And I'm trying to re-spark the motivation and find my why for going to the gym, because it's definitely not aesthetics anymore. Like, I don't think that I care as much about having a big butt and, you know, a skinny waist. And so I more just want to go for like the strength, for the energy, for the back pain, because my back has been in pain, y'all. And let me know if you had a similar journey. I had a great conversation with Kayla from Chromatic Crochet. If you guys don't know her channel, you have to go check it out. She posts like the most cozy cabin videos where she crochets. She doesn't just crochet on her channel anymore. She does like, so she shows like her ceramics project. She is always making bread and she paints. So check her out. But we were talking about how we went from a gym journey to like a running journey, because at the beginning of this year, I was like running so much. I did like 3 5Ks, a 10K, and then I signed up for a half marathon, which is actually supposed to be next weekend, or what's the date? Actually, maybe this weekend, and I'm not going. I literally gave up training like halfway through. I was like, I'm not doing that. I would love to get the spark to start running again, but I think it was just a phase. It was just like, oh, I'm so tired of the gym. I want to do something different. And then I started running, and I even bought $140 vest that I used once in my 10K. And yeah, I would love to start running again. Maybe next year we'll pick it back up. But for now, I just need to find my why. I need to find my routine, some health in my journey. And speaking on health, one of the things that is like a little bit random for me to talk about on my channel, but it is October, which means it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I kind of just wanted to talk about it because having a crochet channel means that I reach a predominantly female audience, and we are in general, majority, the ones who are touched by breast cancer. And that's not to say that men don't feel its effects, because obviously like every man also has a woman in their life. But I just wanted to, I don't know, just say like if you are a person who has been touched by breast cancer, which I think at this point we all know or have had breast cancer, and I just wanted to like just take a little moment on the channel to talk about it. My mother was diagnosed in 2017 and my grandma was diagnosed shortly after. Both underwent chemo, radiation, mastectomies, and you know, they're both in remission now, so thank God. But it is a really, really hard thing to endure, especially for the person who is diagnosed, and then also for the family. So I just wanted to take a moment to encourage you to get, you know, if you're lagging behind on a checkup or you haven't done a self-exam in a while, to just like take that moment to pause and to do that and to really take care of yourself. And I just want you to know, if you are, again, a person who has been touched by breast cancer, that you are not alone. And this month and every other month, but especially in October, we are standing together. And I just wanted to make a space for that, because every October when there's pink everywhere, I'm definitely reminded of the journey that two women that I hold dear to my life had to go through to beat cancer. So, and cancer is becoming so predominant in our society, probably due to chemicals in our food, chemicals in our cleaning supplies, radiation from all of the things surrounding us. So it is very, very important for you to take those steps ahead of time. I can't think of the word, not pre-existing, those, you know what I'm trying, preventative steps to making sure that you stay healthy. So on a completely different note, I wanted to just like talk about things I've been watching. I watch a lot of things while I crochet, and my question to you guys is like, are you a series person or a movie person? Because in my life, I feel like I run into a lot of people who watch a lot of movies. Like they sit down and they watch a movie, and that's great. I was never that person. I was like, I will watch a series 10 times before I will sit down and watch one movie. And I don't know why that is. Like, I have nothing against movies, but I'm just a series girl. So let me know in the comments, are you a series person or a movies person? Because last week, I think it was, I had nothing to do on a Sunday. I cast on a project, and I knit the entire day so much that the next day I had blurred vision. Like my eyes hurt when I went to sleep that night, and then the next day I couldn't even knit because of how blurred my vision was, how bad my eyes hurt. I was like, okay, I think I knit a little too hard that day. But I was knitting while I was binging the entire first season of Yellow Jackets. So 10 hours, because there's 10 episodes, probably about 40 minutes long. I binged the entire first season. And the second season is not on Netflix, otherwise I would have binged that already. But I'm thinking about either getting a VPN or getting a Showtime like free trial. I don't even know if they have one. It's just what I do whenever I want to watch something. Because if I can watch one season in a day, I can probably watch season 2 in a day, or at least in a couple. But Yellow Jackets is so good. Like, if you haven't watched it, stop whatever you're watching, stop whatever you're doing, and go watch Yellow Jackets. It was insane. And it was so addicting, and I absolutely loved it. It's basically about, in the 90s, there was a plane crash of a girls' soccer team, and it just talks about how they like survived out there, and there's like a lot of flashbacks and flash forwards to like current times, and there's a lot of questions surrounding their survival, what they did out there, how certain people died, and they're like really secretive about it. It's so good, guys, it's so good. But then after I watched that, I was kind of searching for something else to watch. I did watch, I don't know if I even mentioned this already because I watch so many things whenever I'm like crocheting and knitting. I watched the documentary about the Menendez brother. First I watched like the like story. I watched that, and then I watched the documentary that came out a little bit later, which was also good. It just kind of, not anything you haven't heard before if you know the story of the Menendez brothers. Okay, I was waiting for the sun to go down a little bit, but it was good. And then shortly after I watched that, I started Lost, which I never was on the Lost train when I was younger. Obviously, I was a little too young to like be watching Lost. I think it came out in like 2005, early 2000s. I was too young. But I remember like a lot of people watching it. You know what I was thinking? I was thinking I really miss those days where you would like watch an episode of something and then go talk about it the next day at school, and like you had to be waiting in front of the TV at 8 o'clock or whatever time this show came on and watching it. It was like Pretty Little Liars was one of those shows. I can't think of, I remember I was watching like The Secret Life of the American Teenager. I tried to rewatch that show because I actually loved it when I was a kid. Not a good show. Like just, not that it's not good, but it's like extremely problematic and like hard to watch, like really hard to watch. The acting was not very good. Sorry, Shailene Woodley, because you know, I love Divergent, but it was pretty hard to watch. So I started watching Lost, and I really like it. I'm on season 2 already, which means I binged the first season in less than a week. It is what it is. I clean with Netflix or YouTube or whatever. Like, I'm always watching something while I'm doing something. I think it's an addiction. I think it's a problem. But is it harming anybody? No. So I will probably continue to do it. So that's what I've been watching. And as far as reading, because I usually like to talk a little bit about what I'm reading, I don't read as much anymore because of how much I knit and crochet, but I tried to hop on the audiobook train, and I think it's honestly just the book I'm listening to. And you guys are gonna hate me, and this is such an unpopular opinion, but I cannot get through A Court of Mist and Fury. ACOTAR, like A Court of Thorns and Roses, the first book, I got through it, and I actually read the physical book, and I remember reading it by the pool, and maybe if I did the same thing with A Court of Mist and Fury, I might have gotten through it, but it just doesn't make me want to listen to it. It doesn't make me want to read it. I don't know what it is, but I think I need a little like palate cleanser, or I need to test out if it's just audio format that I'm not enjoying. So I'm thinking about picking up maybe a little Frida McFadden. I have a book, I think I have The Housemaid on my shelf by Frida McFadden that I was thinking about just like, you know, I think it's supposed to be a little spooky, so reading that, or like a little thriller, just to like see if it's the book, is it the audiobook, I don't know. But I can't get through it, and I'm not enjoying it, and I don't know what it is, honestly. Please, if anyone also feels the same way about A Court of Mist and Fury, I feel like everyone's gonna be like, what is wrong with you? Like, if you feel the same way as me, like, please just let me know I'm not alone. So I feel like I didn't talk about my trip to Utah like at all on my channel, but I will talk about Utah to anybody who will listen. And we had the most fabulous time. I'm gonna insert some like video clips So if you're like crocheting and not watching the screen and you want to see some things that we did in Utah, like just like take a little peek. But I'm gonna chat and then I'll just like throw up the videos as well. But we first of all flew to Las Vegas and we got there at night. We were supposed to get there in the morning, but then Spirit Airlines changed our flight. So we got there at night, picked up our Turo car, which like if you don't know Turo, it's like Airbnb but for cars. So people just like rent out their cars. And that way you don't have to deal with like rental agencies and stuff. And we actually really like it. We did that when we went to Arizona too. So we picked up our car and then we started immediately driving to Kanab, which is like basically, we were supposed to spend the whole day there, but we only ended up just sleeping there. Like we got there at 2 in the morning and then left at 6 in the morning. So yeah, and I mean, it wasn't that bad. Like it sounds like, wow, only 4 hours of sleep, but like we were pretty jet lagged and just exhausted and ready to be on the road and see some things anyway. So yeah, we drove from Vegas to Kanab in the pitch black and we were like the only car on the road at certain points and I was terrified. Like my boyfriend was like, okay, this is a little bit sketchy, but I'm like, if you know anything about me, which even probably just from this episode, you can tell that I like true crime because like the Menendez brothers, but I'm a true crime junkie. Like there are not many true crime like cases that are like well known that I wouldn't know. Like I know about it, okay? And especially out west. So the things that like I'm most terrified of, the dark, the emptiness, and people. And like I don't know who's hiding in that darkness out there. So the whole point is like I was terrified. I was like, what if something happens and we're on the side of the road? And if you're like on the West Coast, you're probably like, oh my gosh, it's so normal. But like as a person who, there's always trees, there's always some little town that you're gonna pass by. Like it's not just like desert and mountainside and nothing in like flat for miles like that. So it is a different feeling as someone who's from the East Coast. Well, I'm technically from the Midwest. I'm from Ohio. You guys know that, but you know what I'm trying to say. So we got to Kanab, we left in the morning, and then we did a full drive from Kanab to Moab, which took the entire day, like all of the sunlight that we had, because we stopped at a lot of places. We went through Monument Valley, which is like insane. We went through Valley of the Gods, equally insane. We like went to Forrest Gump Point. We actually stopped just before Forrest Gump Point and I was like, is this it? And I was like, babe, it's gotta be it. Like, look at this, like the landscape behind us. And we took a cute little video of me running there and my boyfriend was like, I'm so confused. Like normally there's a lot of traffic here and there's a lot of people. Yeah, we drove like half a mile further and there were a bunch of cars, people in the street, like acting crazy. But the best part about my video is there's no people in it. So I think I won. I think I won on that one. But every time we were driving, like every 30 minutes, the landscape changed. Red rock, desert, white rock, different rock formations. Like it was actually insane. And none of them looked anything similar to what we had seen throughout the entire drive. Like Utah is insane. And then we stopped at a little town called Mexican Hat to eat. And the reason it's called Mexican Hat is there's a rock formation that looks like a sombrero and it's totally cool. We drove past it like on our way out of Mexican Hat on the way to Moab. And we stopped and ate there and that was really cool. We had like, I guess, I think they were Navajo tacos. It was something like that, but I'll insert some footage if I don't have it on the screen already. And then we finally got to Moab and the funniest thing happened. So we were so tired when we got there. Obviously we'd been driving all day and the lady that checked us in at the hotel was like, okay, let me give you a tour. And already like me being a brat was like, I don't want to go on a tour. Just let me go to my room. I need to shower. I need to like lay in bed. So she takes us, she shows us the pool. She's like, oh, here's like some restrooms and bathrooms. She takes us outside. She's like, here's your parking spot. It's parking spot number 1. And yeah, and then she just goes back inside. And I like look at my boyfriend and I was like, don't you think that's a little weird? And he was like, no. And I was like, she didn't tell us where our room was, or like, isn't that weird to you? He's like, no. So I go back inside. We're trying to like figure out our room. Our room says number 1. And I was like, all of the rooms are gonna be 101, 201, 301, 401, you know, like, you know how it goes. So we go back inside and I was like, excuse me, can you like tell us where our room is? It just says number 1. And like, I don't know if there's like a special spot for just like single digit rooms, like, you know, what's going on? She was like, I showed you, it's the parking spot outside. What do you mean? So we were like, what are you talking about? And she was like, yeah, you guys like rented the parking space. And I was like, no, we don't have a van. We're not camping. We don't have a van hookup. Like, we rented a room. So my boyfriend was the one that booked everything. And she was like, oh, so apparently, and this is kind of where I get frustrated. Apparently this hotel is aware that the third party, I think it's like on trip.com, is advertising van spaces as rooms. So on our end, it showed that we had a room, and on their end, it shows a van space. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. Doesn't really seem like it was our fault. And it kind of seems like that's a communication problem with the hotel and Trip. But we ended up having to pay double what we thought we were paying for a room, for an actual room. So it was a little bit of a confusion, but it's okay. It ended up great. We loved the hotel anyway. They did try to give us like the cheapest price. Like, it's a whole other long story, but long story short, we stayed and it was fine. And the next day we just explored Moab a little bit. If you didn't watch my last video of my yarn haul where I talked about the tiny little yarn shop that I went to in Moab, we did that on that day, so go ahead and check that out. I got a little bit of yarn. It wasn't exactly what I had hoped for, but I think it'll be cute no matter what I make with it. And grabbed some food. So the next day we went to a hike called Corona Arch. Fabulous, underrated arch. I loved this arch. The hike was so easy. It wasn't even really like a hike. There was like a tiny ladder that you had to climb up, but we loved it. It was like, we went first thing when we woke up, and there weren't a lot of people, probably because everybody was at Arches National Park instead of at this tiny little Corona Arch. But it was like one of the more interesting arches that I would say that we did see. And then our second hike of the day was at this place that had these dinosaur tracks, and we kind of got lost. But at the same time, when we got to the top, there was like this really cool view of like some rock formations. I'll insert a clip, of course, and it was just really cool. I couldn't tell if we got to where we were supposed to get on that hike. We got super lost and then just like made our own way back. But that was all that we did on that day until 3 o'clock in the morning, when my boyfriend woke me up to go to Arches National Park in the pitch dark again, pitch black, like driving. So if you haven't been to Arches or don't know anything about the entrance, you have to go up a mountainside to get into like the national park. It's a lot of rock mountain terrain. So pitch black. We're trying to figure out where we're gonna like go stargazing. And I know that there's a cliff on my side and there's a rock wall mountain on his side. I'm like panicked. I'm like trying not to like throw up because I do get car sick, especially when I'm thinking about the fact that there's a huge drop and that an animal could run out in front of our car at any moment and we could swerve. Anyway, I'm like worst case scenario thinker, okay? Like, you don't want to be anywhere with me. I'll just tell you all the ways that we could die. But we finally got up to a nice level. We found a cool place, empty parking lot, and then we got out of the car and we just stargazed, and it was so beautiful to be in a place with no light pollution, no sound pollution. Like, it was just silent. Again, I was terrified, but it was really nice to see the Milky Way and all the stars in the sky that I can't see here in Ohio, especially living in a huge city that I live in. I say huge, it's pretty large. We have like 1 million people in Columbus, but yeah, so we were stargazing, and then we went back to the car, and then we drove around a little bit, and then we went to the trailhead for Delicate Arch, which Delicate Arch is the most famous, most recognizable arch in all of Utah. It's on their license plate, it's on everything, to be honest. So we were waiting around, and then a bunch of cars started pulling in. So we decided we were gonna be the first. Well, my boyfriend decided. I didn't want to do it. I was scared. I'm always scared. I'm such a scaredy cat. But we went out of our car, grabbed our phones, we used our phones as flashlights, and we started off on the trail. We were the first ones, and we got all the way to the arch right as the sun was rising. Like, there was just enough sun to see the arch. And this was the most incredible thing I think I've ever seen. Like, oh my gosh, the footage doesn't do it justice whenever, like, you know that there's like this wide open space. It's just beautiful. I have no words for it. And we took a cute little picture by the arch, and even the picture, you can't even tell how huge this thing is. And it's just a wonder, all of the arches there and how they're formed, and all of the land masses in Utah. Like, it's just wild. And to be honest, like, as a person who's from the United States, like, I never even knew what kinds of things were out there. And my boyfriend, who's actually not from here originally, like, planned the whole trip and all of this beauty for me to see in my own country. And I just thought that was so cool. So anyway, I loved our trip. After that, we just like stayed in Arches, went to a couple other hikes, and then we kind of like wrapped up our trip in Moab, spent the next day driving. So we did like three nights in Moab, I think, one in Kanab, and then the last one in Vegas. So we headed back to Vegas. We didn't take like the scenic route this time. We just took the highway, and we got to Vegas. We did explore a little bit, mostly just ate and like walked the strip. And yeah, I don't think I have a desire to go back to Vegas, to be quite honest. I don't think that there's anything really there for me. But yeah, so that was our trip to Utah. And here in a couple weeks, we are headed to Puerto Rico. And so basically, my boyfriend planned the trip to Utah. He wanted to go back out west this year. And then I wanted a beach vacation. Like, I'm always a beach vacation girly. I just need my rest, my recuperation, and I hope that I'm like back to sleeping by the time we get to Puerto Rico. If not, the relaxing beach waves and time spent laying around, just soaking in all of the sea, hopefully will put me back in that state of mind. I am a water sign through and through, and I saw something once that was like, have you watered your water sign lately? And it's like, we actually thrive being next to big bodies of water. So that is definitely where I thrive. I just feel the most at peace when I'm staring out into the ocean, and I just know how big the world is and how small my problems are. And it really puts things into perspective for me. So yeah, I'm a Pisces. I would love to know, I'm like such a zodiac girl. Like, I don't know all of the things about the zodiac, but I can tell a lot about you based on your zodiac. So pop your zodiac sign in the comments if you dare. And let me know also, like, are you guys celebrating Halloween? I have never been, never was, never will be a Halloween girly. Like, I just don't see the point in dressing up, and that's pretty much just it. I'm not a party girly anyway, and like, what am I gonna dress up for? But if you are dressing up and you are a spooky girl or guy, let me know what it is that you're gonna be for Halloween. If you're going to any parties, what's your costume? Is it gonna be handmade, or are you purchasing it at like Spirit? Yeah, just let me know. So I think that I talked enough. It has been over 30 minutes now, and I think I'm gonna just end this little chat here. If I continue to crochet and finish this part of my blanket, because what would be so cool is like, my blanket is 3x4. So I have January, February, March, April, May, June, all sewed together. So if I did July, August, September, it would be like 75% done. And then I just have my last 3 months to sew on. So I would love to finish August and September. It's just that I have so many projects. As you guys know, I am Christmas knitting. I also have a sweater that I'm working on for myself, which seems really selfish right now to be working on because of like Christmas coming, but I have been eyeing the pattern. As you guys know, I think I talked about it in my first or second knitting podcast. I will link them both. But yeah, like, I really wanted to do that project. And then I'm also doing, did I already say I'm doing a test knit? I'm doing a test knit, so, which is also a sweater. It's a large project. So I just have so many things going on top of trying to balance work and, like, you know, moving my body and cleaning and cooking and all of the things. I want to get back into baking. It is baking season. My boyfriend said that my KitchenAid is dusty, which it is. He got it for me for our anniversary, and I have not baked in a long time, so I would love to do that. But yeah, so just catch me up on you guys in the comments. And if you like this video, it really supports me a lot, if nothing else, to just give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content, then subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.